Okay, hi. Thank you so much for collaborating with me. This is a fourth grade teacher, and we we work with your student, an EL student, and I wanted to first just go over his test scores, his access scores, his last access scores. He got a 3.2 in listening, speaking 2.5. This is out of 6. Reading 2.8, writing 3. Oral language was a 2.8, literacy 2.9, comprehension a 3.0, and an overall a 2.8. So he's still struggling a little bit, and but you gave me a lesson to modify. So, but first I wanted to ask you, what has been your experience working with him in the classroom so far? Still the beginning of the year, but what have you observed?
Sure. He is a very quiet student in my classroom. I think he struggles a little bit with his confidence in his writing and answering questions in the classroom. I think it's more of he's a little bit afraid to get the answer wrong. Um, Aside of that, he does have a buddy in the classroom who he has come to be really good friends with. So I think that's starting to open him up a little bit. He takes pride in his classroom job. He's one of my cleaning crew, and at the end of the day, he's always quick to ask me, "What do you need me to clean up?" He does not ask me a lot of questions. I think it's that confidence that he does not want to appear to me that he doesn't know or that he's wrong.
Or even to his peers.
Right, or even to his peers. I do call on him sometimes in the classroom if it's a class discussion, just to kind of see where he's at. He does take the time to think about the question. I've seen him a couple times look at his paper, to see if there's notes on there that could help him. But he does struggle with saying the answer. He'll quietly say it, but if I say, a little bit louder, that's where he struggles.
Yeah, I think that's common with ELL students or culturally and linguistically diverse students, as we call them, also because they don't have the confidence. And unfortunately, because they don't have the confidence, they don't ask, like he doesn't ask you, and so they don't grow a lot in the academics. So what do you think his uh, social needs are? I mean, you mentioned that he is well liked, and
He is, yeah. Like I said, I really think this student that he is around a lot, I think it is kind of helping him get out of his comfort zone a tiny bit. This student is very outgoing, so just having a friend like that, even to play at recess, I think it's been good for him. I think giving him praise for even the little things that he does on his work and just building that confidence step by step is something that needs, to be done more. So yeah, just building that confidence and in the classroom, whether it's socially or academically.
And I think that's really good because it's important that they do, have friends and they learn from each other as well. What do you think he struggles with the most academically? What are his needs?
It would be he can get the answers written down, but it's more of writing on that fourth grade complete sentence level, where it's, do my sentences make sense? Am I using capital letters? Am I using punctuation? The COPS method that we use in here, doing parts of that. And I know it's hard when he does struggle with reading, to read over his work and be able to check that. So I think that's what I'm struggling with. And to the participation in class, which is hard when, it's hard to understand the content.
Right. Yes. So he has some accommodations for in his PSP, and some of them are provide visuals and organizers, provide content objectives, link instruction to prior knowledge, build background knowledge, provide language objectives, and provide interaction opportunities. So those are the accommodations that we focus in, and I know you focus that in class with him, and I work with him as well. So you gave me a lesson that you were going to give your class, so I can make some modifications. Can you tell me a little,
Sure.
explain what the lesson was for the video?
The target of the lesson was to produce coherent writing. So we are eventually in 4th grade on the K-Prep going to have to write paragraphs. So we are beginning to introduce that to our students, how to write a paragraph, the parts of a paragraph. So I did a lesson called the Hamburger Paragraph lesson, and it was just kind of relating how to write a paragraph to something that they are familiar with, which is a hamburger. So each part of the hamburger was the different parts of a paragraph. So the topic sentence, the details, and then your conclusion. First off, I had a PowerPoint on the board, and it was very interactive. They could click on each part of the hamburger to see what it resembled. We did that as a group. We talked about how some paragraphs have way too many details, so it's a writer just going on, and it kind of loses your interest. We talked about how paragraphs, they sometimes don't have enough details, and it doesn't really explain the topic sentence. We then moved on to just focusing on topic sentences, and we talked about 3 topic sentences and what our paragraphs would be about. And then we went on to having them construct their own hamburger. So they got to pick their own topic sentence, what they wanted their paragraph to be about, and then details, how to explain that topic sentence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. And that was like great activities you did with him. I felt like he needed a little extra support. So I suggested some accommodations or modifications of the lesson, and I provided an additional example of a paragraph written in a hamburger graphic organizer. And then also I've given you a Spanish sheet with the Spanish transitions. Your student, he was actually born here,
Okay.
but because he speaks a lot of Spanish at home, primarily Spanish at home, they take longer to acquire that academic language, and that's why they struggle. So that's why I provided that. But the most important piece, I think, is this one sheet that has, first of all, ideas on what to write about. And because I think a lot of times it's hard for them to come up with what to write about, and they get stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
So this one has, just kind of like phrases to help them, suggestions on what to write, something that that relates to them in their life, like their favorite food, what my favorite food is, or I'm happy when, or something about their family.
Mm-hmm.
So something to give them some ideas to write about. And then the next one was, I always, when I work with my students, encourage them to make their sentences longer, more interesting. And so I provided a list of adjectives to use, because a lot of times they don't think about using adjectives. And then the last one is, and then you talk about this also.
Yes.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a checklist for their sentences. Once they write their sentences, they need to go back and check if they use a capital letter, and then with proper punctuation, if their sentences make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted him to have this to work along with that. Additionally, I provided a link to a video on how to write a topic sentence. And I think that helped him to clarify on what that topic sentence needs to be, more than just a topic, but to say something, a topic plus something about it.
Right.
So how did it go? How did the lesson go how did he do with the accommodation, the modifications that I provided?
I actually used your accommodations for my whole class. I played the video before we did our own hamburger writing, and a lot of them I saw on their faces, it was kind of like oh, okay, now I get it kind of moment. I also used the examples about what to write about, because I think they all kind of struggle with that a little bit. You know, what do I want to write about? What can I write about? I definitely think it helps your student, because he actually turned in a piece of writing that was very unique from the others in the classroom. Instead of writing about my favorite, it was steps on why waking up in the morning is hard for him. So I thought that was very unique, and I think the sheet that you gave him helped him kind of process, you know, different things to write about. The example that you gave, the other example, I put that up on the board for the whole classroom, and I think it helped them a lot too, because it kind of showed them what is their writing going to look like when they're finished with it. And I definitely think it helped this student as well, because it gave him a visual of what he needed to have on his paper. You know, I did tell them that they cannot use this example on their writing. It would have to be their own, but I definitely do think it helped. The Spanish version of it, I did show it to him separately, and we kind of went over it, and he did not seem to be able to use it as much. But I did offer it to him, and I told him if he would like to look over it, then he was able to.
And I think that Spanish version would help somebody who's, you know, came from other country that
Right.
had already schooling in Spanish, but with him, his main problem is not having the opportunity to build his academic
Right.
language, because at home they speak more Spanish. So that's always good to say for another student that you might
Absolutely.
have a need. But would you then recommend these accommodations for other ELLs or maybe other writing lessons?
Absolutely. The sheet that you had given for the different topics to write about, I plan on using that for almost any free writing that I give them. Now, if it has a topic, you know, it's a little different, but if I do ask them to write something about something, I definitely am going to use it, because it kind of saves the time of, well, I don't know what to write about, so I'm just going to sit here. It gives them something to process. So I definitely liked it. I liked the video. I think it was a different way to show with all the different learning styles. I think that kind of applied to those who are more, you know, tech savvy, or, you know, they like videos more than writing. So just having all those different kinds of accommodations, I like it. I thought it was great.
Well, thank you. It was a joy to work with you
course.
and with your student, and I hope that I can continue helping you and him as well.
Yes, thank you.